Hello, welcome back to The Good, The Bad and The Stupid. It's Wednesday the 18th of September, episode 42, coming at you. Going to get straight on with it today. Got loads of stuff to get through here, and I've got loads of stuff to do in what we can all describe as the real world. That's it, where the real money is. Got to go and try and make some, that's for sure. I wanted to start off with a guy here who has been dubbed or deemed or called, should I say, the People's Plumber, a guy called James Anderson. Take a hint out of this guy's book, people. A tradesman was last night hailed as the People's Plumber after refusing to take payment. When I read about this, I thought he'd done it for one customer, and I thought that's a really good thing to do. He's not charged somebody who was ill. He's not charged somebody. I thought everybody's celebrated him. I thought that is a really good thing to do. Even he's done it a selfless act. He's actually not charged somebody who was ill with leukemia, and all this sort of praise that he's getting will actually get him tons of work, and will actually, reap the rewards of such, a kind act, if you like, rather than overcharging and people dissing you and saying that you're fucking too expensive or whatever. So that was a good, I thought it was, even if he didn't mean to do it, it was a good business move. So I should take hint out of that person's book. So I'm not trying to fucking book a plumber or anything here, or I don't need any plumbing done. It's not my way of getting the price down. But when I read it, I thought, as I said, I thought it was one person, but it's thousands of people he's done it for. He's done it for 2,389 customers so far, or around that number. He just can't bring himself to charge people, so it's kind of a broken business model. But the guy is obviously a really, really nice guy, and because he's been doing this, again, it has started to bring money in, because he's having to. Well, people have started raising money for him, so he's actually had £20,000 has been paid to him through some kind of money raising situation. But he's been getting into his own debt by not being able to charge people that he feels are vulnerable. So give this guy a TV program, people. If anybody deserves to be on TV, he's giving it away. So why don't you just have somebody like that going and doing exactly that, helping people, make great TV? He'll be fully in work, getting paid. People will be getting their plumbing done for free. Everybody's happy. So he's doing it anyway, and he's a really nice guy. So people can take a lot of lessons from that. James Anderson, of where is he from? James Anderson, take a bow. He's from Burnley. There you go. He's from Burnley. So if you need your plumbing done on the cheap, don't give James Anderson a call, because his fucking work's already cut out for him. Don't take the piss. Come on. No, it's a good thing. I'm glad I've read that. That's brightened up my day. I've got to go and charge somebody for something later on. I hope it doesn't fucking play on my heartstrings too much. What's this? Somebody's sent their fish, a goldfish, to the. This is quite funny, actually. This is somebody else with a kind heart, but also a fucking, I don't know. They're obviously very attached to the goldfish, but they sent a goldfish to the vet because it had a tumour on its side, a lump on her belly, and the doctor did first of its kind. The doctor did an operation on the goldfish. It's only that big. Did an operation on it, £100 operation, 40 minutes. Molly, her name was. She cost £2. Don't know where she come from. It was not one of them ones from the fair that you remember, the ones from the fair you get in a little plastic bag. I don't remember if they do that still anymore. Every time I got one in the plastic bag, I had one. I think I had about two before that died on the way home. I had one that was dead within a week. I don't know where, the fish must be just traumatised. And then another one, the water had run out by the time I got home, and there was just like a fish sort of like fucking in an empty bag. They didn't have a good high life expectancy rate, those ones from the fairgrounds, did they? Anyway, Molly survived. What did they do? So they did the job on her, and then they brought her back by dunking her back into oxygenated water. So and she's back to her best. Hopefully she survives. What's that sticking out of there? Hopefully she survives, and yeah, good news. There you go. So therefore, if you've got high attachment to a fish, only costs you £100 to keep it alive, or £2 for a new one. Where are you with that? How much do you love the fish? That's the question. What have we got here? Okay, so the common cold is they've found a cure for the common cold. So they're saying the common cold could be a thing of the past, as scientists reckon they have discovered a cure. They've identified a key protein in cells called the cold, in which the cold virus needs so it can reproduce. And by stopping humans producing the protein, it could halt the cells from replicating. It's gene editing, and they're doing it in mice. But then that means you've got to give everybody so they have to give everybody a jab or something or other, by the sounds of it. That'd be good, actually, wouldn't it? I mean, fucking hell, companies will pay for that. Companies, they should charge for it, because the companies would actually pay to have all them employees not be able to give the bullshit excuse of I've got a cold. Although you can always still go, I've got the flu, I've got pneumonia, which most blokes would do anyway. But the common cold, how many people used to have time off, or have time off with the cold? Now, if they have that jab, they won't be able to use that excuse, will they? You'll have to go, to more serious illnesses. Really sort of broaden your repertoire for illnesses that you've gone through. It was fine. You could always just keep reproducing it, couldn't you? I've got a cold, I've got a cold, I've got a cold. You can't just keep saying I've got pneumonia, I've got pneumonia again. They fucking think you're on death's door. You run out of room with certain excuses, don't you? So if they eliminate the cold, that will boost the economy, probably. Sooty. Oh no, hang on. What's this one? Sooty and Sooty, original Sooty glove puppet. Given to, I love Sooty. Who grew up around Sooty? It's still going, apparently. Don't know who the guy is who's running it now, but they're still on tour with a new owner. But the Sooty, Harry Corbett was the first one. I think Matthew Corbett was his son. Matthew Corbett I grew up with. Harry Corbett was before them, so they've been around since before I was even into them. I say into them. I won't go into Sooty concerts or anything like that, but they were the one in the when I was growing up. Sooty glove puppet is going anyway. An original Sooty glove puppet is going to go on sale. It's in the box and everything. It was given to somebody by Harry Corbett, and it's going to cost fetch £1,200 in the auction. So there you go. If you've got any original Sooty attire, or even if you've just got one that looks a lot like the original Sooty, try your luck, stick it in the auction. You might be get £1,200. I do love when shit sells for fucking money. That's my favourite thing. What we got? £400 million. The streets really are paved with gold, with Brits picking up 412 million in lost change every year. So the average adult, £412 million is just strewn all over the floor, dropped, loose change and whatever else. Well, somebody got lucky. Somebody got lucky once when I was walking down the street, because I dropped 120 quid out of my pocket. So that person, the average here is people picking up £7.50. Londoners are the luckiest, finding an average of £14.70. Liverpool £8.40. Geordie's £7, £8.40. Liverpool, they're nicking it out of the pockets. I mean, they ain't finding it on the floor. Come on, that's a stereotype. I'm not joking. Geordie's just as bad as them. £7.70. Don't know what it is in Birmingham. Don't worry, there's a lot of people nicking it out of pockets in Birmingham as well. Don't be, you can be sure about that. But most of it's found on the floor. I lost 120 quid. Somebody found that. I was distraught, honestly. I went out with 120 quid. I had to go home because I had no money left. I actually couldn't have my night out because I bloody left my bank card and everything. I'd gone out with cash. By the time I come home to get my bank card, I went, fuck it, I ain't going back out. I was like a bare with a sore head for the rest of the night, and I should have gone back out really and just drank the bloody pain away, but not a lot of money, it's the principle. Because I think I know where I dropped it, and I went and asked in there, and they went, "Oh no, I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it." And I thought, "You fucking liars!" I was messing with it in a pocket in the toilet when I was rearranging myself, and the cleaner was knocking about in there, and I just think the fucking cleaner was laughing, so I didn't necessarily drop it on the. They're saying they didn't have it, therefore I dropped it on the street, but I think that cleaner had it. I don't come back to your restaurants after that. Women, 6 in 10 women dumb down on dates so they don't scare off less intelligent men. I've probably been a victim of this. Half struggled to find a partner. Half of women struggled to find a partner who stimulates their brain. But 82%, you're hearing all this, thick blokes, the girl is waiting for you to sort of up your intelligence levels a little bit, or they're just basically dumbing down to your level, is what they're saying here. 82% were happy to go on dates with thicker males as long as they were hot. Oh, okay, well, you got a bit of a reprieve there. So always make sure you look good, look your best, and if you are thick, you might still get lucky, or you might still get the girl, as they say. She'll just think you're thick in the back of her mind. She won't tell you. That's a bit mean, isn't it? I hope she's not telling other people as well. Oh, he's a lovely bloke. Thick as 2 short blanks though, but great looking, smells nice. Yeah, so was it dating site Match also found that 1 in 5 stopped talking about a subject when they realised their partner had no clue about it, or just had no clue. Come on, have you been a victim of this? Who knows this situation? Anyone the subject gets changed pretty quickly when they're talking about anything high level intelligence. You've got to up your game. Just even if you get some quotes out of some books or something, just fake it, like what I'm doing here. Fake it till you make it. Just come out with some bullshit from a Emily Bronte book or something like that. Even if you know 2 or 3 lines, you change the subject when she asks you more questions that you don't know. That's what you do. Who said the bloke's not playing dumb to the girl's dumbness? It could go both ways here. You're playing dumb to the bloke's dumbness. Maybe the bloke then, who's dumb, because he's then thinking you're dumb and he's doing the dumbness back to come back to you. Oh, can go around in circles, that one. Each of you think each other's thick. I think both of you are thick, if that's the case. Right, okay, we're going to move off this one. I could talk about this one forever. Hold on. Faithfulness was the top quality for women looked for, followed by sense of humour and ambition. Style, intelligence and manners and sexiness were also vital. Said the fucking hell, you're a bit, what's the word? You want it all, didn't you? You want faithfulness, sense of humour, ambition, style, intelligence, good manners and sexiness were all vital. Fucking hell. I'll tell you what, it's very hard to tick all those boxes. There isn't many of us that can, I can tell you that. But there's quite a few people who fucking be losing a few off that list. Some people are good looking, funny as fuck, but the ambition in there, they're just lying on the couch all day scratching their nuts. Some people are quite intelligent, but they couldn't fucking make you laugh if they tried. So you got to lower your expectations levels a little bit, ladies. I'm afraid us men aren't built like the ones on the telly in the films. That unfortunately they'll dress that way to look that way, and they'll sort of fucking hook you, and then all of a sudden they'll reveal themselves about 2 months in when they go, oh fucking hell, he's a right dumbass. Right, I'm going to move on from this. There's more to that. I just can't stick around. Got to move on. I get itchy feet. A 28 stone man has blasted housing bosses for not adapting his home so that he can go into the garden. And this guy, first I thought that was a joke. I'm having shown a picture of a big fat man, a big guy. I'm showing this to the video. Podcasters, you'll have to just imagine a big guy. I felt a bit sorry for him actually, because I saw the big fat picture first, and then I thought, oh man, that's a shame. No, sorry. At first I thought he's taking the mickey because, you know, he can't get out because he's grown to that size, and now he wants his door widened so he can actually get out. But he's actually had a load of health issues, and he's in a wheelchair and all sorts of stuff. So not quite as black and white as you think. Still a lot of weight though. He must be eating a lot of crap, no doubt about that. But he can't get out of his house, so he has to just stick his head out the window by the looks of it. He had a car crash, and then he was reliant on a wheelchair, and he's had other modifications. He wants to be able to put on a coat in the winter and sit with a cup of coffee while watching the birds. We'd all like to do that. We all have to fucking go to work, whether we're fat or not. So, you know, you can't just say that. If you have that door wide, then you can get out. You'll have to go to work, I'm afraid, not sit in the garden fucking looking at the birds. He's lost 3.5 stone since taking medication for diabetes, followed by a diagnosis last year. Anyway, he's got a door that big. He's that big. There's a problem. So, what point did he realise that he wasn't gonna, you know, that wasn't gonna work out? He obviously hasn't been out for a long time before he's just gone bang. Oh, what the fuck? I can't get out. Must have been about a year before he's gone. So, you know, you're not going out looking at the birds for a long time. They're making that as a bit of an excuse, I think. You haven't even tried to go out. Remember that lady's typical example here? Couch potato. I'm only joking. If I haven't read the whole story, I don't know how seriously unwell he is, but he's having a bit of both, and he's ill and he's trying it on. What we got? What's this one? Oh no. Was it the Welsh? I said the Welsh. I'm going to come back to this one because I'm going to run out of time. An armed robber escaped jail because he could not stand the amount of drug taking. There you go. That's an armed robber with morals. He was sent to an open prison. He got 18. Well, I didn't get about this. He got 18 years, and he was moved to an open prison because he's due for release. How can he be due for release? He's only young and he's got 18 years. Unless he's been in there, must have been in there a very long time. Must have done it when he was a kid. But he was shocked by the drugs and the boozing, so he just walked out one day, and they picked him up at his mum's house and had to take him back, and he got an extra 20-week sentence. So there you go. He had to go back to Category C prison, which is prison speak for a prison that you can't just walk out and fucking go home to your mum's house. But it seems strange to put an armed robber or somebody on that kind of serious sentence in an open prison. You know, they're naughty people, they're naughty boys. Of course he's going to walk off. It's kind of like standard, isn't it? We do the opposite of what is right. But he's on his way out, so he must be rehabilitated. So don't listen to me, or don't take my word for anything. Put it that way. Elon Musk didn't call a diver a pedo. He just called him a creepy old man. So Elon, what is his name? You know what I'm talking about. He's been took to court by a guy, Vernon Unsworth, for defamation because he's claiming £57,000 off him. I don't know why that particular amount, but anyway, £57,000 because he called him pedo guy. Remember when the Thai caves, the guy went and helped save the boys from the cave, and this guy deemed him or called him pedo guy. And he's basically, Elon Musk is trying to say here that now in his defence that he didn't call him pedo guy was not an accusation of being a paedophile. It was actually where he grew up. Pedo man, pedo guy means creepy old man, and it was aimed at insulting appearance and demeanour. I think you're trying to get out of it there, but pedo guy, as far as anybody else concerned, especially with relation to Thailand, or the guy living in Thailand, is I think we all know what you meant. You're a millionaire just paying 57 grand and fucking, you know, admit defeat. Hopefully you get the money. It's not going to bother him anyway, is it? I like Elon Musk, but you can't go around calling people pedo guys. That shit sticks. You know, if people believe that, then that affects him. Fucking, oh, is that pedo guy? He has no choice but to clear his name, doesn't he, or to do something about it. Speaking, Bobby Davro appeared on TV to promote an alcoholism charity while claiming to be drunk from last night. So, what's it called? Irony? Is that a little bit of irony there? Bobby Davro appeared on TV with Jim Davidson, a couple of likely lads, pissed out their brains still from the night before. They'd been out all night and they couldn't even remember where they'd been. That's how good a night they had. But they were promoting a alcoholism charity, so you know, it's almost like when you do it the day after, or after the show, you don't come into the program drunk to promote a bloody alcoholism charity, does it? And unless you are an alcoholic, and then we can all go, you know. But it looked like they was having a good time anyway. So there you go, Jim Davidson and Bobby Davro out on the town together. Sounds like a party. Probably not to a lot of people. I bet they loved each other's jokes. I bet they were making each other laugh a lot more than they've made many other people laugh. I love this guy. There's a so-called time traveller claims he was transported to the year 2300 when he tested a top-secret government machine. In a video, he says cities were floating thousands of feet in the air, cars flew and computers ran the world. He says his name is Gerald Gardner. He claims he disappeared for 3 years from 1988 to 1991. And that's what he looks like. Sorry, he's a weird looking bloke, podcast people. A weird looking bloke with a bald head. Looks like he's got some kind of stocking on his head. So he's got latex kind of stuff underneath. But he looks the part, he looks creepy. Could be true. It's a good. He's the only person doing it, so it's a good niche that he's cracked onto. His name's Gerald Gardner, anyway, and he said cities float up 6,000 feet above the ground. The cities were governed by a computer. That the computer was much smarter than any person could possibly be. That don't take much. There was no money and no banks. There was no laws, but rather guidelines. If you were caught doing anything, you were sent temporarily to a work camp. So anyway, more to come from him, I'm sure. He keeps popping up every now and then on the internet, doesn't he? And when he first come out, he looked. People were like, "Fucking hell, could be the real deal." But it's not, because time travel is not possible. Well, it is possible. It is possible. It will be possible in the future. So they're coming back, aren't they? But he's saying he went from here, isn't he? He's saying he went from here. Yeah, he's come back from the no, he was transported to the year 2300. He disappeared from 1988 to 99. Originally, he was saying he was from the future. Now I think he's saying he's from here, that was sent there, and then he's come back like an holiday to the future, back to the future basically. But originally, I thought he said he'd just come back here and was telling us about the darkness of or what's going on, what's going to be in the future. But now, I think he's changed his story a little bit there. A marathon bar. Marathons are back in the news again because what's it called? Morrison's are going to call Snickers marathons for a little bit, aren't they? Remember marathons? I grew up when Snickers were called marathons. So if you remember that, give a fist bump. A fist pump. A marathon bar kept in a biscuit tin for 30 years is proof of shrinkflation. E&K brought it back to 1990 after Mars announced they would be changing the name to Snickers. I don't know what, he's kept the marathon bar for 30 years in a biscuit tin. Well off, that is. It's way off. He probably could still eat it if it's in the tin, but why would you keep a marathon bar for that long? He just knew his time would come, didn't he? This shrinkflation. He's basically holding up the marathon bar next to a Snickers to show how the price, how the size has reduced in that time. So 30 years, all for that like moment of fame. He's made it into the paper with his little Snickers and the other one. He was a forward thinker, but now what's he going to do with it? Back in the biscuit tin for another 30 years, I imagine. Or he might do the rounds of the news TV stations now. Maybe that's the way he's going to go, because that's as good as the news gets these days, isn't it? Right, I've got loads to do here, but I ain't got time to go through it all, unfortunately. So I think we're gonna finish up on one more, which is, or two more. Masked robbers armed with knives confronted the delivery driver and stole, wait for it, 3 pints of milk. There you go. The pair in ski mask. What do you expect? You're robbing a fucking milkman. You know what I mean? The milkman is hardly the man with tons of cash on him, is he? You know what I mean? Especially modern days, people don't pay cash these days, do they? They pay by some other way. But even if they did, what would he have? A load of change or a load of bloody 80p's and stuff about. So he had no money, so they nicked 3 pints of milk off him. So that's not going to send you to Acapulco anytime soon, that robbery. Tom Huddleston moved one of his audience more profoundly than expected on Broadway. Theatregoers said a female fan wailed cries of apparent sexual ecstasy while he was on stage in Harold Pinter's Betrayal. A member of the audience at New York's Bernard Jacobs Theatre said, "My companion could feel a rhythmic banging against his armrest, punctuated by occasional loud moans and giggles. It got faster until there was one slightly louder ha as she resumed her normal seat position, put her head back and closed her eyes." Wow, I mean, there you go. He's hitting her from afar there, isn't he? He doesn't even have to be sitting at the table talking to her. But when I first thought that, I thought she must have another guy next to her who's like controlling her some way or another. Maybe he's got like the remote control to some love eggs or something or other. There's something going on there. It's not Tom Huddleston, is it? She must be there with a fella and like he's doing it or whatever. They must be playing some kinky game, you know. What's it called? 50 Shades of Grey, whatever. Let's sort of tick shagging in the theatre off the list or whatever. Anyway, good for her. She had a good time. Seat B3, if you want to go and have your photo with it. Lap dancers, like we're going to finish up on this one now. Lap dancers won the right to carry on stripping yesterday after a council ruled that their job was an art form. So the strippers all basically went against. There's a campaigners not buying it secretly filmed the women fondling punters at a Spearmint Rhino club in Sheffield, and councillors watched the footage and identified breaches but renewed the club's licence after the dancers told them they were in complete control. We love what they are. Have you ever been to the strip clubs? They're in complete control of the situation. Of course they are. They're taking money out of dumbasses' pockets, man, over and over and over again. And people are just chucking the money at them. So they're in complete control. It's a good money, good job, and if they enjoy it, then you know there's a lot darker fucking places to be. We love what we do. If you don't like strip clubs, don't come in. Simple as that. And the not buying it campaign called it the decision by the council to call it an art form shocking. So I'm pretty certain that there's one or two of those husbands or whatever in that group supporting their wives in that campaign who were secretly fucking fancying a trip into the Spearmint Rhino, but they can't because they've got to stay loyal and support. I'm only joking. I'm sure that's not the case. They come under the fashionable, what's it called? I forget the bloody word now. We're going to have to just forget it. So I'm moving on. Got to move on to something else. Hopefully we'll find something to talk about tomorrow. What's the faithful? Faithful. That's what I was talking about. The guys have got that faithfulness trait, and that's good for them. Good for you. Anyway, I'm going to move on. See you later on. See you tomorrow. Bye.